this is something that we've been working towards for so long. And it just happened out of nowhere. We have just made history with the Biden administration, and this is a real certified dark branded moment, and this is something that Joe Biden deserves a lot of praise for, because Biden promised to do this on the campaign trail, and then we didn't see it delivered early on in administration. We kind of lost hope. A lot of people never expected Biden, somebody who's very much a moderate, to do. President Biden to, in this, and I remember when I read this, I thought it was bullshit, unironically. President Biden to issue an executive order pardoning all people convicted of simple marijuana possession. When it says simple marijuana possession, that means like you can't just like, if you're a dealer, that's different. If you're a person who like beats somebody up for drugs, that's different. Like a violent drug charge is different, right? But simple marijuana possession under federal law, that means pardoning every single person who has been convicted and put in prison federally. Now, to be clear, most people are in prison for marijuana charges on the state level. But the thing that they don't put in this tweet is that on top of him pardoning everybody federally, he's also encouraging state governments to pardon their people as well for marijuana possession. So that means he's pardoning everyone federally, which is something he always had the power to do and every president had the power to do. And I'm finally happy to see a president pull the trigger on it. Then going forward to tell the state governments across the country, you should pardon the people that have marijuana possession as well, which means that we're probably going to see a few Democratic controlled governments start pardoning people with simple marijuana possession. They're going to follow the government's lead on this. And on top of that, he's going to be asking for an expeditious review of how marijuana is scheduled under federal law, meaning that this longstanding massive issue where marijuana is a Schedule 1 drug on the same level as heroin could finally be resolved, and we no longer have that. I wish Biden would go towards marijuana legalization. I think that would be a massive move forward in the right direction. I think it's also like just a definite W politically when you look at the polling data, when you just look at the fact that this is an issue that progressives have wanted for a while. So this is something that could really reinvigorate his base. This is something he could fundraise off of. This is something that could get him a lot of positive attention in the media. This is something I think that would honestly have an almost immediate effect on his polling numbers going into election. It's one of the few issues that could really motivate youth voters. So I really think he should go forward, but this is still a massive step forward in the right direction, and something we really didn't expect with a moderate president like Joe Biden. This is a picture of him signing it. It looks like he was actually in the airplane signing it, meaning that President Biden was high while signing the marijuana pardons, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. Holy shit, you're right, chat. Look, he has a snack basket. Look at that. Look at that. He has a snack basket. Look where my face is right now. Boom, snack basket. There is a snack basket in the White House plane. That is the type of revolutionary leadership Biden is taking to the White House. That is a dark branded snack basket. Absolutely. But here is a thread that Joe Biden released, and we're going to read it, where he talks about this. Obviously, it's come with a very positive reception. As I've said before, no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. Today, I'm taking steps to end our failed approach. Allow me to lay them out. First, I'm pardoning all prior federal offenses of simple marijuana possession. There are thousands of people who were previously convicted of simple possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result. My pardon will remove this burden. Second, I'm calling on governors to pardon simple state marijuana possession offenses. Just as no one should be in a federal prison solely for possessing marijuana, no one should be in a local jail or state prison for that reason either. Thirdly, we'll classify marijuana at the same level as heroin and more serious than fentanyl. It makes no sense. This indicates very clearly that he wants to remove it from Schedule 1, which would be massive. It would be a huge accomplishment. I'm asking Secretary Baraka. I've never heard of this person before. And the Attorney General to initiate the process of reviewing how marijuana is scheduled under federal law. I'd also like to note that as federal and state regulations change, we still need important limits on trafficking, marketing, and underage sale of marijuana. This is good for him to put here because there's going to be people who are going to be concerned trolling about the kids, so it's good. Sending people to jail for possession of marijuana has upended too many lives for conduct that is legal in many states. That's before you address the clear racial disparities around prosecution and convictions. Today, we begin to right those wrongs. Biden, of course, also recorded a video about this to promote it because this is such an easy W. It would make sense for him to obviously want to promote this as much as possible and inform the people why he's doing this. So let's play the video quick, and then I'll talk about it because this is pretty massive.
As I said when I ran for president, no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. It's already legal in many states, and criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, to educational opportunities. And that's before you address the racial disparities around who suffers the consequences. While white and black and brown people use marijuana at similar rates, black and brown people are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted at disproportionately higher rates. So today, I'm taking 3 steps to end this failed approach. First, I'm announcing a pardon for all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana. There are thousands of people who are convicted for marijuana possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result of that conviction. My pardon will remove this burden on them. Second, I'm calling on all governors to do the same for state marijuana possession offenses. Third, the federal government currently classifies marijuana as a Schedule I substance, the same as heroin and LSD, and more serious than fentanyl. It makes no sense. So I'm asking the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Attorney General to initiate a process to review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law. Even as federal and local regulations of marijuana change, important limitations on trafficking, marketing, and underage sales should stay in place. Too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana. It's time that we right these wrongs. As I said...
Do you know how surreal this is? This is something that progressives and democratic activists and libs have been pushing for, and libertarians. I will give credit to libertarians in this instance, even though many of them will still vote for Republicans, knowing though they're going to work against these interests and continue the criminalization of drug use. This is something that we've been working towards for so long, and it just happened out of nowhere. There was no. I assume some of you were just, oh, I'm out of the loop. This kind of, I must have missed it. No, there was no like big press release that came out like a week ago about, oh, we're considering doing that. There was no real like media coverage. There was no leaks about it. This kind of just like dropped. The only connection between Biden doing this that we know of is he said he would do it on the campaign trail. And then we heard really nothing about it besides there was like a story about certain White House staff being rejected due to marijuana use, which was upsetting. And then this. You know, a lot of us actually lost a lot of hope when the first year in office, we didn't see any movement on this because this is something he could have done on day one. This is something he could have done the first week, first month. He could have done on any day. He could have done this. He could have had this prepared in advance for day one. In IRI's channel, we were hoping he might make a move on marijuana legalization for the midterm, but you're right on, there wasn't a whole lot of talk about it beforehand. That's the thing. I say that all the time too, that this is an easy W. You don't need to say all you need to say is, I'm in favor of marijuana legalization. And I think you're going to see an immediate bump in polls and say, this is the position of the Democratic Party. We are in favor of it. I'm in favor of it. If you give us a victory in the midterms, we'll try to pursue that goal. And I'm going to show you the genuineness of this position by immediately, and then he would announce this. He would announce the speeded up evaluation of lowering the status of marijuana as a Schedule I drug on the same level as heroin. I also don't think LSD should be a Schedule I as well, but that's a separate question for all you mushroom lovers out there. Not mushroom lovers, acid and shit like that. But there's also... Fuck, man, this is... I'm flabbergasted at the story, honestly. I'm flabbergasted at the story. Would I have done this differently? Yes, slightly. And that big slightly is kind of big. It's not really slightly. Is I would also announce marijuana legalization with this. Saying not that, hey, we're going to pass the law right now because we just don't have the votes, but that if we win in the midterms, this is something we will pursue. This is now the position of the Democratic Party. There's an immediate point boost, but this will also help. I think this is something that's going to be almost reviewed almost unanimously positively by the left, and I would even say many people on the right. I will say the one issue when I'm talking to Republicans,
is an immoral,
morally corrupt, bankrupt man. Out of my window. Thank you for the tier 1 and beats up for 3 months. Love the Hog of Kiev emote. The one thing that I find consistently when talking to Republicans is they don't care if you smoke pot. They don't, many of them, I would say the majority of them probably don't want really pot to be criminalized at this point. A lot of conservatives smoke themselves. Yeah, because a lot of them are like veterans who have like, you know, fucked up backs, or they've got PTSD and they've got these issues. And then I think the veterans were actually a huge ambassador for marijuana uses, because a lot of them would find that marijuana helps them cope with the pain, and it helps them deal with the stress that had fallen upon them due to their service. So I think that disabled people who you know, disabled veterans and stuff like that, they were a huge ambassador for marijuana usage. And I think the medical community generally was a huge ambassador for marijuana usage, because I think when marijuana started to being used more and more for medical purposes, it started opening the door for the conversation not only about medical use for marijuana, people talking about medical marijuana all the time, and we usually see medical marijuana legalized in the state before recreational marijuana, but it also started to open the door for recreational marijuana because people started to see people smoke pot and like eat pot brownies, and they realized that the worst thing that's going to happen isn't a pot overdose. It's you're only going to overdose on weed if you lace it with something else like fentanyl, not if you're just smoking pot. I think a lot of people found out that, oh, this isn't the most dangerous thing that could happen, is that they raid your chips and they eat all your chips. Speaking of chips, that's like the worst thing that can happen, is that they could, you know, smoke pot and eat chips. And so I think this was an inevitability, but it's just so weird to see it come out of nowhere and be by Joe Biden, because we got to remember, Joe Biden was influential when it came to the crime bill. Joe Biden was you know, on the train of, we need to fight this drug war, we need to fight this drug war hard. You know, we need to criminalize this drug use. We need to go after this. In the 80s, he was on that, man. He was on that 80s and 90s, man. We can't ignore that. That's just part of his history. I think some people try to overemphasize it than it actually was. And it's so weird to see the crime bill, man, now lowering, going on the path to lowering the status of marijuana, the Schedule 1 status, and pardoning all these people who smoked pot, man. It's wild. It's great, honestly. It's like it actually could be the first step in Joe Biden undoing some of the damage he did when he backed up the crime bill. Unironically, it's more than any other politician has done from his office to advance, like, undoing the pain of that bill and the pain of the war on drugs. It's further than Obama went. It's further than any other president went. Farther than Clinton went. Bill, that is. It's good, man. It's really good. And I got nothing to say but praise for Biden here, and keep going, you know? Like, this is a great victory. Keep going on this. Like, please put out the feelers. See how this is going to be received overwhelmingly well by both Democrats, independents, and even a decent amount of conservatives and Republicans. And then keep going. Keep going. Go for full legalization, man. Go for full legalization. I wonder, does hashish and hash count as the same as marijuana in the US? Seeing so many end up with psychosis from overuse of that particular form from bongs, etc. I actually have no clue about the status of hash compared to marijuana. It's a nice move. Can't see much opposition except from concerned moms groups. It's gonna be from, honestly, it's gonna be from drug company lobbyists, because they don't want to lose the pill monopoly to something that's less harmful. I think it's going to be a bunch of very, very older gentlemen and gentlewomen who who live in another age about how we should treat the drug war and lock up all the pot smokers because they're ruining America, whatever. And I think it's honestly, we're going to find out, we're going to see a lot of libertarians and a lot of Republicans be like, yo, what the fuck, man, towards their politicians once they realize, oh shit, the Republicans now have to defend the position of, yes, you should go to prison if you smoke pot, which a decent amount of their supporters do. Like, let me be for real with you guys. Do you think that, like, let's even go to the Groypers. Let's go to the most far right extremes. Do you guys really think that Groypers don't smoke pot? Do you think those young white kids don't smoke pot? Really? Come on. Come on. Those young gaming white kids don't smoke pot? Come on, man. I think they huff fumes. Basically, what I'm getting at is this puts the Republicans in a very precarious position where they either A, don't say anything at all and just let Biden control the narrative and take a complete unobjective, like unopposed W here, which, yeah, sounds good to me. Or they attack his position, having to take up the mantle of a very unpopular position as a lot of libertarians in their base, and even like the veterans who support the right and stuff like that, they're going to look up and be like, yo, what the fuck? I thought we were the freedom people, but now you're saying people shouldn't have the freedom to put what they want in their bodies. But then on vaccines, you got, and then they're going to be like standing for a second, realizing like, oh shit, they're hypocrites. Now, obviously that's extremely hopeful. I don't think the majority of people will do that, but I do think, you know, each time something like that happens, some people get quote unquote woken up. I don't know how else to put it without, I mean, it was going to sound cringe no matter how I put it. Imagine thinking marijuana is a top tier issue. You'd be surprised. The thing is, I would say marijuana has a very passionate base. That is something you can give marijuana. They have a very passionate base. Pot smokers love pot, man. They really do. And the thing is, it's not just like a recreational fun thing for like the pot culture people, right? I think it's also a medical issue for like a lot of veterans and a lot of disabled people and injured people. And there's a lot of people with like who have seizures who can also use marijuana to deal with that, and that when they start like using marijuana, like their seizures go down tremendously and it can really save their lives. RVD is jamming with this news. Yeah, RVD is having a blast right now, man. RVD is gonna go campaign for Biden in 2024 now. All I have to say for this is like, I have nothing but praise for Biden. Has there been any negative reaction to this? Have you guys seen any negative reaction to this? I'm sure, I'm positive a lot of you knew this was, we were going to talk about this today. Did you guys see any negative reaction? Anything? Imagine thinking libertarian copium, only good thing he has done, etc. But that's good because that's like endorsing it. That's good. So that's not a negative reaction. On r/conservative, maybe we should check out r/conservative. I've never checked out r/conservative. What's it like? I'm actually curious. Nopers, but most of you haven't, I would assume, because it's just you put yourself in a terrible position trying to defend this nonsense. I mean, trying to attack such a popular position. Biden partying. Oh, okay. Let's check it out. Let's check out the comments. Let's check it out. Yes. I mean, he's not wrong. 32. Dude, the Republicans literally can't. They're fucked. They're fucked, man. I'm just telling you, man. This is such a W. Just go straight to legalization, man. Federal legalization. Hell yeah. He's not wrong. This is the right thing to do. Feels like this was a freebie just sitting there waiting to be claimed since the Bush era. Clinton should have legalized it. George W. should have. Obama, Trump. But it still does not get legalized federally, though. Yeah, these are just baby steps. The r/conservative once more. Go for it. Just do it. Just do it, Biden, please. Jesus Christ, man. It's just sitting there. He's just say it. Just say it. Just 5 days. 5 days before the midterm, announce it. Come on, man. Do it, man. Go for it. Go for it. Oh my God. Is there any opposition we could find? Good. It's a waste of taxes to imprison people for simple possession. True. Two things can be true at once. This is a good decision, and it's absolutely a move based on the news today regarding Hunter and a general Hail Mary to save the upcoming election for his party. Wait, what? Fuck off. What do you mean? Who cares? Has anybody talked about Hunter? I saw that I think Hunter was the #1 news story on like Washington Post. I don't think this is going to suppress that news. Nobody, can I be honest? Most people don't care about Hunter Biden. And most people will never care about Hunter Biden. I think this is really something that only motivates the conservative base and nobody else. Because you're not going to convince the average person, like, hey, you know, there's a lot of, Hunter Biden has leached off of his father when it came to his political success to, like, get jobs that he shouldn't have gotten, wasn't qualified for. Damn, that sucks. Anyway, our option is the Trump movement and Donald Trump and his family of totally not people leeching off their father's success to get jobs not qualified for. I mean, he had his own family member negotiate a Middle East peace plan. Why? He wasn't qualified. He just got the position because he was a Trump. That's literally it. Okay. That's enough of that. God, it is such a big step, though. It is unironically such a big step.